I'm Sally Stanton and welcome to Snacks and Suitcases, the podcast packed with tips, tricks and real-life stories to make travelling with kids of all ages a whole lot easier and way more fun. And today I'm chatting with the creator of My Big Adventure Travel Diaries, Kirstin Edwards.
Mom, can I pack all my teddies?
Okay, let's get started. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to travelling with kids is keeping them entertained on those long-haul flights and endless road trips when it's just the freeway. And I know I'm not the only one who says screen time rules go out the window when you set foot on a plane. But it would be nice to have another option other than the screen. But I've tried everything. Novels, Where's Wally, sticker books, finder words. I've even packed homework. And does any of it get done? Not a big fat chance, Mum. But my guest today has come up with a brilliant solution, something kids actually want to use. Kirstin Edwards, a Melbourne mum and lifelong travel lover, has created My Big Adventure Travel Diaries. But these are not your average holiday journals. They are destination-specific, beautifully designed, packed with fun facts, activities, and even a custom airline ticket to reveal a surprise trip. Now, wouldn't that make a great Christmas present? Kirstin's love of travel started young. She grew up glued to travel TV shows, dreaming of places she couldn't yet visit. Money was tight, but the dream never left. And fast forward to today, and she's not only seeing the world, she's been able to take her mum along for the ride too. What an inspirational woman. In this episode, Kirstin shares how the idea for My Big Adventure came to her, what destinations are coming next. We talk a lot about New Zealand, and her top tips for travelling with kids, including some brilliant advice I had never heard before. You are going to love it. Hello, Kirstin. It is great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are welcome. And like everyone else I've interviewed, it was very hard to pin you down. You have been a busy bee, traveling everywhere. You've recently come back from China?
I have. I went to China for the Canton Fair, which was awesome, wonderful experience. And we also just got back from New Zealand as a family holiday. So
the Import-Export Fair, a little bit of work and a little bit of pleasure.
Work and pleasure, yes.
Now, for anyone who hasn't discovered My Big Adventure Travel Diaries yet, what is it all about? Please tell us.
They are kids' travel diary and activity books, but with a difference. So all of our travel diaries are destination-based. So if you are traveling as a family to Bali, you would buy the Bali version for your children, and they get to learn all about Bali in a fun and interactive way. And it keeps them busy on the plane or when you're out for dinner and don't want your kids necessarily on a screen. And then it forms a really cool keepsake as well that you can look back on when you return home and remember your family adventure.
Oh, I used to keep travel diaries when I was a teenager. There was one trip I did. I was an exchange student in Japan, and I wrote in that diary every single day, and I still look back on it now.
Yeah, see, and what an awesome keepsake to look back on.
I do. I love looking back on it, but you know what I did? I wrote every single day in a different colour. And I used those really cool gel pens and metallic pens, and they've all faded.
Oh, no.
All faded, except for a few pages. So it's really, really hard to read.
Oh. So for our listeners and our travellers, what's the best colour pen for our kids to use when they're writing in their travel journals? Is there one that lasted particularly well from yours?
Stick with your normal blue or black pen. No metallics and no gels. But it was Japan where the stationery was super cool.
Yes.
Super kawaii, and I had to use it.
Well, they were such a thing when we were, growing up, the metallic pens. I remember collecting them as well, so.
Lead pencil's probably the safest thing to use, actually. Old school.
Yeah, good old-fashioned way. Sometimes, don't break what's not broken. No, don't fix what's not broke. Is that the saying? Don't fix what's not broke.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's the saying, yeah.
Do you remember the moment where you decided, I am going to design some travel diaries for kids. What inspired the concept?
Yes. So when we first started traveling with our son, he just kept asking a heap of questions about where we were going, like what's the weather like, and, about etiquette, like what could he do, what couldn't he do, and all sorts of things, what animals he would see, what food he would eat. And so I just started putting together a bit of information about where we were going.
How old was your son?
Oh, at the time he would have been 4. And he's now nearly 14.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's, an older, cool teenager now.
Yeah.
But, as the holiday grew closer, I started getting so stressed about keeping him busy on the plane, or what if the device went flat? And then when we were at buffet breakfast, how was I going to keep him busy? And were people going to look at me if I put him on an iPad? All of those things. And so I just started creating this travel folder with information, activities. And then my husband said, I reckon people would buy these. And then a girl I used to work with in a past life had started illustrating. She was a graphic designer by trade. And I asked her if she would be keen to help me illustrate a kid's travel journal. And then it was a side hustle for a long time. And then a couple of years ago, as it started to grow legs, it then became my full-time job.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's kind of in a nutshell how it all started.
So tell us more about your background, Kirstin. You're not a teacher. You're not a journalist. Did you work in the travel industry?
No, I have largely, in my corporate career, worked in like sales, marketing, people management, HR. And for the last couple of years prior to doing the kids' travel diaries full time, when I really had to make a choice, we could see the potential it had the opportunity to become more than a side hustle. So I really had to make a call. So I gave up career consulting. That's what I was doing full time prior to doing this. Yeah, career consulting. So recruitment and helping people write their resumes and update their LinkedIn profiles and whatnot and get a new job.
And then you found one.
Yeah. And then I found one. True.
I love when you hear stories about mums who are able to find a career or they can take their passion and turn it into a bit of a hustle and turn it into a full-time job around their children. I love hearing those stories. And I interview a lot of mums like that.
It's funny, when I first moved to Melbourne as a young adult, while I was studying at university, I actually worked in travel, obviously after uni and just to pay the bills. And I feel like now I've had a full circle moment coming back to working in travel and writing about travel and selling kids' travel diaries. So blogging, I love it.
What do you love the most about it?
Do you know, it's just exciting. It's just adventure. It's exciting. Every destination I go to, I just love seeing how other people live and how they do things in different places. And I also think for us, it's such good family time. It doesn't even have to be doing anything extravagant. It's just, you're just spending quality time together away from the everyday. And even when we're not traveling, the thing we talk about is traveling, and we have such fond memories as a family of all of the trips.
Is there a big adventure involved creating the books too?
Yes, there is definitely quite an extensive amount of research that goes into them. Usually a couple of trips, a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of interviewing people to create our kids' travel diaries. Each edition takes about 6 to 12 months to create. So an extensive amount of work goes into them. Plus, all of them are co-created with teachers. So to make sure that they're educational as well as lots of fun.
Did I also read that you asked your son's school teacher, what can you do whilst on holidays?
Yeah. So when he was little, it's definitely cheaper to travel during the school term or miss a couple of days here or there. And I do feel that travel is very educational. But early on in the piece, I definitely had a lot of guilt about that, a lot of mum guilt about potentially missing school. And I know a lot of parents reach out to me and feel similarly. So yeah, all of our travel diaries, as well as being super fun, are educational. And I think a lot of the advice you get if you do take your children out of school to travel is just get them to keep a travel journal or a travel diary. And just writing lines in an A4 book would have never engaged our son. He would have found it very, very boring, which is also why we've created really fun travel diaries, because I'm sure a lot of children out there, if their parents ask them every day to write about what they've done, might also find that boring.
Yes, I experienced that with my daughter also. A few years ago, we were going skiing in New Zealand and I asked the teacher, is there any work she can do? And the teacher suggested keeping a diary. So every single day after skiing, which is really exhausting, I tried to get her to write in a diary. And the same, she just didn't want to write on a boring exercise book. We struggled. We fought about it every day. And when we returned, I gave the diary to the teacher and she was blown away that we actually did it. When I say we, it felt like I did it with her. But she said, no, skiing's exhausting. You don't really have to do that much of a diary.
Yep.
I felt like I was either a terrible mother for getting her to do it or a really good mother for getting her to do it.
Yeah. So you should have taken our New Zealand kids travel diary.
I know. That's what I was thinking. It would have been so much easier and way more fun for her if we had the My Big Adventure books.
Yeah.
You've already got things printed in there. You've got fun stickers and activities and a digital element.
There's a digital element, in each of our travel diaries. There's plenty of places to journal as well, like traditional journaling, but there's games and activities and things like tick and rate the local food, and they all come to life with interactive video content and learn the local language, and all of the activities are designed around where you're actually traveling to. So the holiday becomes super immersive and educational in a fun way.
Yes, which I think is very important because the best way to learn is through play.
100%. Yeah, I agree, especially at that young age.
We are going to New Zealand again very soon, so this time I'll be prepared. And you actually have a junior and senior edition, don't you?
Correct, yeah. So we have a junior edition, which is aimed at kids between 4 to 7, and then a senior edition, which is aimed at sort of kids in the 8 to 12 age range. But having said that, we actually get asked all of the time, can we create an adults version? Because it seems like a lot of adults are also into the whole travel journaling thing. Typically, they're designed for kids, under 12.
It's something fun you can do together with the kids too.
Absolutely. We hear that from parents all of the time, that whilst they purchase them from their kids, they loved doing it with their children. And again, great keepsake at the end of the holiday, which mums and dads and kids can all look back on together.
I assume there's a place to decorate, stick your tickets in, a little bit of glitter. I always add a little bit of sparkle to my things.
Yeah, and in our Japan edition, there's places like you can stick stamps in, which is such a big thing in Japan to, stick stamps in. So, yeah, the kids love that. And, yeah, there's definitely places to stick Polaroids in and, your airline ticket or whatever the case may be.
So fun. And I love that this is a book you can do on your way as you're building anticipation to your holiday while you're there and perhaps on the way back too.
100%. Absolutely. And I think it's a great, going back to when we first started traveling with our son and he had lots of questions about where we were going, that train of thought has definitely been incorporated into all of the travel journals to help ease travel nerves, but also build excitement about where kids are going. And we hear all of the time from mums, oh, my kids loved seeing that in the book. And then we were at the destination and they said, oh, mum, look, we saw that in our book. It's just, it's really nice.
Yeah, and they're not on screens. They can just read it in a book.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I know. Lots of parents are very grateful. I think it's something like 66% of parents look for screen-free travel solutions when they're traveling with kids.
I always say screen time rules go out the window when we're on a really long flight or road trip, but I do like to have other options. I often buy those other activity books, which are crosswords or puzzles, but she's just not interested, Kirstin.
Yeah.
They're not fun enough.
Look, I love a screen too, right? We all do as parents, and I agree that screen time does go out the window when you're traveling. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Like I said, all of the travel diaries also come to life with video content, so you can watch educational content via the books about where you're traveling and learn the local language and stuff. And again, it does also have activities and whatnot in it, which is a great alternative to the screens. So, and sometimes we have been on a plane where the screens on the back of the seats didn't work.
Oh, yes. That is torture.
So I think it's always helpful to have some activities for kids that aren't screens or not rely on the airline's entertainment, because sometimes they don't work.
Yep.
It's always good to have a backup.
Oh, that's for sure. Also, dinner time when you're on holidays in restaurants. I have an only child, so I think it's a little bit harder for her to sit there with two adults every time you go out to a restaurant and have fun.
Yeah.
You can't even have an adult conversation really when the child is just sitting there bored, and then you feel bad giving them a screen. I try not to give her a screen too often, but an activity book Fantastic.
Thank you.
It's great that it gets the parents involved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And buffet breakfast is another one. It can buy you a little bit of time. You can have your coffee in peace. Whereas I think often you feel like you have to rush through buffet breakfast, because the kids want to be busy. You can't sit there and have a leisurely breakfast, which as adults we so often crave. So it just buys some more time as well.
Yeah, it's okay to have a little bit of me time,
100%.
Even if you're sitting at the table with other people.
And look, as a parent, I definitely used to feel like everyone was watching me if I had our son on a screen at buffet breakfast.
I'm sure there are people judging us, but I'm blocking it out.
Oh, maybe I'm my own worst judge potentially too. Maybe they're not really looking at me, but I certainly felt that pressure to not have a screen at a restaurant or buffet breakfast.
All right, so back to the books. Which countries are currently featured?
Yeah, so we've got a Fiji edition, a Bali edition, New Zealand edition, Japan, and Thailand. And then hopefully next year, we're getting a lot of requests for a cruise edition. So I think that'll be really fun.
Oh, cruising is huge.
Yes, absolutely huge. And we're also getting a lot of requests for a Vietnam edition.
So how does that work? Do you then have to go to Vietnam and research?
Yeah, we're definitely going to go to Vietnam and do a lot of research for sure. What a terrible, terrible job.
If you need anyone to go for you or with you as an assistant,
Yep.
I've got my hand up.
Okay, I definitely will keep that in mind, and cruises as well,
Oh, wonderful.
Have to try a few more out. So all in the name of research.
No. You can't just do one.
No, got to do a few more for sure.
Have you been on a few cruises already?
Yeah. I have done one. I've only done one actually. We did the and it was the adults only one. It was the Virgin adults only cruise when it was in Melbourne. So that was quite fun. So definitely do need to do more.
Yeah, I went on one for work, the Carnival cruise.
Oh, yes.
Which is really good for kids. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was a bit of a naysayer before then, a skeptic, but I actually had a really good time.
We had a great time on the Virgin adults only cruise, but for a long time we couldn't do cruising in our household because our son watched Titanic.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
big mistake.
Yeah, so cruising has been off the radar for our family for many years for that reason, but he's open to doing it now. So,
oh, you'll have a great time.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm very keen to do a cruise edition and try out a lot of cruises, all in the name of research.
At the moment, which book is the most popular?
Oh, Bali. A lot of families love
so.
Bali. We love Bali too, but I would say Bali and Fiji are the two most popular.
Australians just love Bali and Fiji. And of course, now Japan.
Yes. Our Japan edition actually keeps selling out. So, because that's been super popular this year. But so many parents and families go to Bali and Fiji, and I think it's so close. It's easy. Bali's a very budget-friendly holiday as well.
Yeah, I think I might be the only person who's never been there.
No way.
I know. I've never been to Bali. I've been to Fiji. Have not been to Bali. I don't love really hot weather.
Yeah, okay.
Sweating is not my thing. I just don't react well to it. As soon as I walk outside, it's like, oh my God, I can't breathe. And I don't know if I've been to Malaysia, Singapore. It's very hot there. North Queensland, it's very hot.
So if you're hot, you just hop in the pool or the beach.
I think it comes from filming in those climates. It's very hard to film with a face full of makeup when it's consistently sliding off your face. And I've been there for work a lot. So I've hated that element. So maybe when I'm relaxed and on holidays, it would be a different story.
I think it would be totally different. I don't even pack work totally different. But when we're just family traveling, I don't even bother packing the makeup or the hair straightener anymore because they just sit in my suitcase because my hair goes super frizzy and the makeup slides off. So
it's freedom.
Yeah, and that too. It's very liberating to not have to be done up every day.
What's the best thing about Bali? Convince me.
Convince you. Do you know, I love Bali for the fact that you can have any type of holiday you want. We've gone to Bali and had really luxurious holidays. We've gone to Bali on a shoestring budget. And every time it's been a wonderful holiday.
What about Bali Belly?
Never had it.
Oh, wow.
None of us have ever had it. So I think, as long as you practice good hygiene like you would in any country, it's fine. when we eat fruit, I always eat fruit that's like packaged, whether it be a banana or something that's got its own skin that's not been washed. And you just eat at really popular places and practice good hygiene. And yeah, it's never been an issue.
Has that destination been your favourite to research so far?
Oh, this is such a hard question. Oh, look, I do always have a soft spot for Bali because, yeah, we've always just had such good memories there. And it's got everything you would want, and it's got such an interesting cultural element as well. So, I don't know. I don't know if you guys, I can't pick a favorite. It's too hard when people ask me that question.
I know. I was thinking about that. Like when people say to me, where's your favourite place to go? It's very hard. And you always want to go somewhere new, but you also want to go back to your favourites.
I know, like Bali to me is like a second home. It's just where we go and have an easy, wonderful holiday. But I love New Zealand for the same reasons. But as a traveller myself, I love adventure travel. So like I have such fond memories of being in Africa, and I've just got back from China, and I love that sort of stuff. But the family destinations, I do think, Bali, Fiji, New Zealand is great family travel destination.
Africa would make a great My Big Adventure book.
Oh, it'd be fabulous. But a lot of the tours, your kids have to be 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so now we're starting to get back to, we'll be able to do that sort of stuff again soon now that our son's getting older. But the travel days in Africa are quite long, which does make it hard for littler kids. But it's definitely an adventurous, really exciting destination.
Oh, yeah. 15 is the minimum
Yeah.
age. Okay.
Yeah. 15 is the youngest a lot of the tours will take children. Like if you want to go like through Kenya, Tanzania, etc., have to be 15. And look, having done it and spent some extensive time there, I totally agree with that. Like I think the travel days are really long. So, yeah, I think it's definitely a destination to save for when kids are a little bit older, but highly educational and just mesmerising.
Yeah. How do you choose the next destination?
Oh, do you know, I kind of let the destination choose me. So depending on when we've got time available, I'll kind of look where the best deal is and book that. So a lot of the time I will let the destination choose us. Work aside, like obviously running the kids' travel diary business, we tend to go back to destinations we have travel diaries for, so I can do a lot of blog content or social media content on those destinations or research the next destination we're thinking about creating a kids' travel diary for. So that aside, if it's just a trip, like a family trip or, a genuine holiday, I let the destination choose me based on where's a great deal at the time.
And what about your son? Does he have any input to these decisions?
He'll go anywhere at the moment. Loves travel.
He might say, hey, Disneyland chose me, Mum. I want to go to America.
Well, he loves the States. He just is desperate to get back to the States and loves all of the, the NBA and the sports and all of that sort of stuff. But he actually sent me a link this week. He wants to go and see the Northern Lights.
Oh, yeah. Great choice.
Yeah, and wants to sleep in one of those, the hotel rooms that have the glass roofs, almost like an igloo. But he always picks the destinations that are not budget friendly. So
that's going to be one of the most expensive holidays you can possibly have.
I know. So, but that's where he would like to go currently.
Where does he want to see the Northern Lights?
I think, is it Finland? Finland or Scandinavia?
There's a few places, definitely up in Scandinavia, Iceland.
Yes.
There's a place in Canada called Yellowknife that has a very good strike rate at seeing the Northern Lights, because I don't think you're ever guaranteed to see them.
No, that's it. You're not guaranteed to at all. But yeah, now that he's a little bit older, I feel confident flying that bit further or going away for longer.
You know what? There's a cruise that you can go on to see the Northern Lights. I'm pretty sure it's a Princess cruise and it departs from somewhere in the UK, I believe, and you go all throughout Scandinavia.
Ooh.
I'm not 100% sure of the details. It stops in Norway and you can see the Northern Lights from the ship. In fact, Barbara Bryan, who I just interviewed, she's from Let's Go Mum.
Yes.
I chatted with her about Disneyland and she has just done one of these cruises. I'm pretty sure she had a spectacular time.
Well, maybe I could kill two birds with one stone. I hate that saying, but cruise and the Northern Lights, a bit of research and a bit of family adventure and ticking off some bucket list items at the same time.
I do remember her saying it was costing a bomb.
Yeah, every every one of those destinations isn't cheap. When I was younger and I went to Canada, it wasn't cheap then, and I remember living on rice and chickpeas and sweet chili sauce for months on end, just to be able to afford to go.
Canada is gorgeous, isn't it?
Oh,
We took my daughter there just before COVID for a white Christmas, and I'm glad we got it in because now the prices are just astronomical.
yeah, they are, yeah, for sure, but so worth it.
Now, in your books, how do you balance out the fun facts with the educational side? How do you keep things magical for kids?
Oh, I think, we've got a lot of games in there like tick and rate the local food
Oh, yeah.
just to encourage adventurous eating.
Yes.
And we've got.
I love that. I love that.
Oh, thank you.
That's always a challenge for my daughter, getting her to try something new. And I'm sure many, many other kids out there.
Yeah, but it's a fun game, and we've actually heard from many parents now that really encouraged their kids because it was gamified to try some of the local food and the local fruits and whatnot. There's also games in there, like there's an airport scavenger hunt, which is a really great way to burn energy in the terminal, before you board a flight. And
Brilliant.
those sort of things, mixed in with the educational content, plus the fact they come to life with video content as well, makes it fun. And kids love sticking travel tickets in and photos in, and so I think that's how we do it.
How do you come up with these ideas?
In the shower? I know that sounds
No. We've all got our places.
I know that sounds really strange, but I think when I switch off or I'm relaxing or out walking the dogs or having a shower and not actively working, that's often when I come up with the best ideas. That's at home. Plus, when we're traveling, just seeing what our son was naturally drawn to as a child and what he was interested in, and then incorporating that, asking locals, what's that? Tell me about that. Or asking, in Bali, our nanny or our driver questions, and just getting stories from them as well can help make it really magical.
From a mother of another solo child,
Yes,
do you find it quite hard to entertain your son when you're traveling?
that has definitely been a challenge as we've travelled.
Having an only child probably helped you become more creative and have this imagination.
Yeah, maybe. I've never thought about it like that, but it is definitely, I can definitely, when you said you had an only child before, I could definitely relate to that feeling of having to be the parent, but also the friend on a holiday and the entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So
You got to do it all.
Yeah, you got to do it all. And so potentially, I'd never thought about it like that, but it is definitely a problem we encountered for sure.
It can be a lot easier having one, but there are definitely challenges having one.
Definitely challenges. We have taken a couple of the holidays we've gone on. We've gone with grandparents or extended family and whatnot as well. So, or just as an extra form of entertainment.
Yes.
Yeah, extra friends. So, it can definitely be a challenge. But I'd never thought about that before and how it potentially helped my business. But I think you're right. Probably really has.
Well, for me, just this past weekend, we were up in Queensland and I took my daughter to the Skywalk in Mount Tamborine. So it's like a rainforest and there's a cantilever that goes out amongst the trees and everything. And she was just bored out of her brain. And I kind of knew she would be. She's kind of like, get there. No, where's the gift shop? Which was almost like me when I was little. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm trying to think of games to play. Like, okay, I want you to spot 5 new things or something beginning with this letter. But she's just getting over that now. And I'm running out of ideas.
Yeah.
But you're just full of them. Your book's full of them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And then we just try and cram as many as possible in the book, even things like Chinese whispers, but with handshakes. Try and pack a balloon when we're traveling as well, so I can quickly blow it up and make that a game. Like, how many times can you hit the balloon back and forth to each other in the airport terminal or whatnot to burn some energy?
Yeah, that was a tip from another mum, Jo McGregor from the Tokyo chapter.
Oh, yeah, as well? Yeah.
She suggested blowing up a balloon so it's really small, like a little tennis ball size, for little kids to play with on the plane.
Yes.
Because, toddlers would totally get a kick out of that.
Yeah, they do. And even though we don't really need that anymore, I always still pack one because you never know when you're going to see another mum just needing a breather. And it's just a nice thing to pass on. So, and they take up no room in your handbag at all.
Yep. And they're super cheap. Now, we've already spoken about your favourite destination to research, but what are some of your favourite places to travel, especially with kids?
For me, I love adventure travel. Like I love Canada, I love Africa, I loved China just recently. But I do think for family travel, particularly, when you've got younger children, Bali, New Zealand, Fiji, they are such easy family travel destinations. And I think depending what you want or need at a certain time or what the budget is, you can get what you need for a family vacation out of those 3 destinations. And they're all so close to Australia as well, which also helps when your children are
the
little.
time difference, jet lag, it really helps with all of that, doesn't it? You want to keep your babies on their nap routine.
Yeah, it just makes it easier. Plus, they're not on a plane for too long. And on that, I would actually say, and maybe you've heard it before, but I think it's so tempting when you're traveling with children to board the plane first and get them settled. I would really encourage for anyone listening that's potentially traveling with smaller children to board last, particularly if you're traveling with 2 adults. That way they're not sitting in the plane seat and locked down for an extra 30 to 40 minutes longer than they need to be, going stir crazy, have them burn off some energy in the terminal.
My friend just got stuck on the tarmac for 2 hours going to Japan via Hong Kong on Cathay, and she has 3 kids. They missed their connecting flight. It took them forever just to get to Japan.
Yeah, we flew back with Cathay from China and I nearly missed my connecting flight as well because the first flight was delayed. And it's so stressful, even as an experienced traveller and frequent traveller, it's very stressful. So, when you've got kids in tow as well, that just adds a whole nother layer to it.
Yeah, because they're a lot slower than we are.
They are.
And they need to go to the toilet all the time.
They always need to go to the toilet. As we were running to our connection, actually, the Cathay Pacific customer service manager that was like walking us to everyone that was going to miss their plane to the next plane is like, no one can stop to the toilet because you're going to be late. You're going to miss your flight. Just keep running. So we weren't allowed to stop. So I'm sure that was very stressful for your friend.
Well, my daughter and I flew staff travel on the weekend, and often with some of the airlines, you are called out at the last minute, so you can't even drop your bags and go. You have to wait till they say your name. And she was busting for the toilet, and I didn't want to risk it, so we're waiting. We ran through, and then she needed to go, so we were lining up. The line was so long. We were under pressure. Somebody let her cut the queue, which was so kind, and we just made the flight. Very, very lucky there.
Yeah, very, very stressful. They always need to go to the toilet at the worst times, don't they?
Do you remember your son's first flight?
I do. And that was actually the flight that the devices didn't work.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been grueling. How old was he?
I think he was 4. So, yeah, and I was to Thailand and the devices didn't work. And he didn't complain or really get restless till like the final hour. So he was we were really lucked out. But I learnt an important lesson that flight. Always have lots of backup things in case the technology doesn't work or gets shut off. Yeah.
Oh, so did he have an iPad or anything?
No, because I was going to rely on the entertainment. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that is a tough one.
Yeah, so
although back in our day, we had none of that. So.
Yeah, you know what? Exactly. And we survived. But I learned a lesson very early on to make sure that you have lots of things and not just rely on the airline's entertainment. But a lot of them don't have it now anyway. You have to take your own devices.
Yeah, I know. They're just scrapping it, aren't they?
Yeah. But then largely relied on the devices in the back of the chair.
Well, that's a good tip. Always have a backup.
Yeah. Pack the travel diary, have an iPad that's got all of the shows downloaded and make sure they work in flight mode and all of the things. Lots of snacks, far more than you ever think you're going to need. Doesn't need to be a fancy bento box. It can just be, snacks shoved in a handbag because I actually find those bento boxes, if they fall out, the whole thing or they get knocked, the whole thing kind of goes all over the floor. So I actually find it better have snacks in a regular lunchbox or shoved in my handbag.
Yeah.
And yeah, always, always, always pack anything you'll need for the first 48 hours in your hand luggage. Swimmers included, because nothing's worse than getting to your destination or your bag getting lost, or even on a cruise, and can take ages for your stuff to get to your room, and you just want the swimmers straight away.
Yeah, that's a good idea to have the essentials with you, swimmers included. Do you have any more tips?
Yeah, well, that would be it, definitely. I've had my luggage get lost before, and yeah, anything you need for 48 hours, medicine, swimmers, the
Yeah.
works, in your carry-on.
I often pack some safe snack foods or safe meal foods, really, just in case that first night you don't get a chance to go out and buy food or you can't
Yes.
find anything your children like. There was a stopover once in the Middle East where we didn't even have a chance to go out and get food. Room service was closed. We were just staying one night, I think, in a Dubai hotel. And lucky me, I had my cup of noodles. I take them everywhere.
Yeah, well, lucky. Because when you're hungry and you can't get anything, I think it almost makes you more hungry.
Oh, it makes me hangry.
Yes, me too. And kind of on that topic, but same, but a bit different. We learnt very early on in the piece to book a hotel room for the night before, so that as soon as you get there, depending what time you land, you can check straight in. I'll never forget when our son was younger, and one of the trips I didn't do that because we must have landed at like 11 o'clock or something like that. And I thought, oh, it's not that long till 2 o'clock. We can just hang by the pool, or, he'll be fine. And he had an epic meltdown in the foyer, like, where you check in, reception. And I was just mortified. So I always now, even now, factor that into the budget, making
Yep.
sure that if we're arriving before check-in time, that we have booked the accommodation from the night before, so that as soon as we land, we can check straight in. So
I agree. I did that all the time when my daughter was really young. The first time we did it, she was 9 months and we flew to LA, and I think we arrived quite early there. It was like 6 or something in the morning. So you have to, with a little baby, you've got to have somewhere for them to sleep. My daughter's not the one to sleep in a pram or anything. And we couldn't check in till 3, so it's quite hard to find a hotel that will let you kind of book a day rate.
Yeah.
But they don't advertise it. But I found if you ring and ask them, they'll let you.
yes, 100%.
Because they don't want everybody doing that. Because it's very hard for them to, know when people are leaving and clean the room and get the next load of people in. So I found the Hilton at LAX airport. They allow that, but I had to phone them or emailed them, and we were able to book a day hotel. Sounds a bit wrong, a day hotel or a pay by the hour, but it's not. Trust me. It's all above board. It was just what we needed.
Yeah, 100%. And it's the same if, you've got a late flight. Like, yes, it can definitely add a little bit of costs on, but it just makes things so much more convenient to be able to have the hotel room until you really have to leave for the airport.
Yeah. If you can get to the airport early and check in, there are a lot of those lounges you can use now that have beds or really flat chairs where you can lie in them. I think Hong Kong has it. And showers. They may not be great for little kids, toddlers, because they do need their own space sometimes.
China had these really cool pods right by the gate that you could like sleep in or work in, or like they were like these soundproof pods, which were quite
cool. I recently heard that Novak Djokovic, the tennis player, he's working on this pod that you sit in or sleep in at the airport, and it re-energizes you. It gives you a better sleep than you would even have at home.
Send me the link for that, because that sounds amazing. I'm sleeping terribly at home. So
Same. I don't know exactly the specifics. It's called Regenesis. That's it. And I don't know if it uses radio waves or soothing music, lights. I don't know what it does, but supposedly it helps you feel better.
Yeah, right. I'll have to look that up.
Bali, Fiji, and New Zealand are excellent for kids, but let's focus in on New Zealand since you were there very recently. Was it a South Island, North Island visit?
We did a South Island visit this time, and so we flew in and out of Christchurch, but then we did a self-drive holiday around in between. So we spent some time in Lake Tekapo and Queenstown, and some little towns in and around those areas. So it was fabulous. New Zealand is it's just like a movie set.
Stunning, isn't it? The landscape.
Yeah.
I've seen nothing like it, really. It's very distinctly New Zealand.
It is. And, I find it so sad when I hear from people all the time saying, oh, we'll go to New Zealand later. We'll go to New Zealand later. I think people save it for later, and it's such a spectacular destination. So for anyone listening, don't save it for later.
Did you
now.
uncover any hidden gems you'd like to share with us?
In terms of accommodation, we stayed in Queenstown, a place called Platinum Villas and Suites, and it was just the most spectacular views, right, from every room in the accommodation. And it was just so well set up for families, and they've thought of everything. Like, they had chopsticks there. They've got makeup remover wipes there. And it was just board games for the kids. And it was just, in terms of accommodation, if you're heading to Queenstown, that was definitely a hidden gem that's just a spectacular place to stay for families. And we actually went with my in-laws, so it was so nice for our son to be able to spend some uninterrupted quality time with his grandparents. I think on holidays you can often fall into the trap of being busy, doing. And sometimes it's nice to just stop, take in the views, and just have some genuine R&R.
So what kind of things did he do over there? What activities?
We did like the luge, the gondola up to the mountain, bike riding. They had, New Zealand's got some great bike riding.
I just did an episode with Hamish Blake, and he was telling me all about the West Coast Wilderness Trail and the Otago Rail Trail. He loves it. I think it's one of his favourite places in the whole world.
But in terms of hidden gems, if anyone is travelling to New Zealand, I would say go to, aside from Christchurch and Queenstown, they're both great destinations, but Lake Tekapo.
Lake Tekapo, okay.
It's like Canada in terms of like the colours and the lakes and the snow-capped mountains.
Is the water like that beautiful blue?
Yes, it really is. And if you want to go to Canada but your budget doesn't quite stretch there yet, or you can't make it happen, check out Lake Tekapo, because it really is Canada without the price tag and without the jet lag. And the stargazing there is just out of this world. So it's one of the world's only dark sky reserves, so there's very little light pollution, and you have never seen stars like it. And
that sounds amazing. Just recently we went on a holiday to Australia's first international dark sky approved lodge, and it was stunning.
Yeah. Well,
it's on the outskirts of the Snowy Mountains in New South Wales in a place called Mount Adra. It's called Kestrel Nest, and it's an eco hut.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I have never seen the sky like that before. It felt like I could reach out and touch the stars. We were right under the Milky Way, and I was amazed, blown away by the shooting stars. I thought they were UFOs at first because they were darting across the sky like they were dancing, going so fast, horizontal. I thought shooting stars went down, like they fell vertical.
Yeah, well, I thought our son would be a little bit bored with it, right, after the first little bit. But it was so engaging, and the tour we did was with a company called Silver River, and the whole tour, so it was only 75 minutes long, so not too long for kids or teenagers, and it was so engaging, and like we got to see Saturn and the rings of Saturn through this telescope, and they took great family photos and that you got included in the ticket price, and it was just really, it was unexpected. Like, I knew we would enjoy it and the stars would be beautiful, but we all walked away, my in-laws included, just mind blown with how breathtakingly beautiful it was.
Was it quite late at night? Did you have to wait till it was super dark or anything?
No. So we went in late September, early October, and no, it was like dark by like 6 o'clock. It was so cold though. I have never been so cold in my life.
Yeah.
And like we all wore thick coats, and they even give you like lone coats as well. And I was still shivering. Like, it was definitely very cold. But no, at that time of year, you didn't have to wait till like some ungodly hour to see the stars or anything like that. Like, it gets dark quite early, so which was also helpful.
Yeah, well, the sky's clearer in winter too. I know it's probably more spring, but the skies are a lot clearer Well, I'd love to go there. I'm going to the North Island, not the South.
Well, the North Island's just as beautiful. I think the North Island's really good for like cultural stuff, whereas the South Island's got a lot of really natural beauty.
That was one of my very first holidays as a child. I must have been 2 or 3, and I still have the memories of Rotorua, Milford Sound.
Oh, I haven't got there yet. That is on the list. We didn't quite have enough time this time to go and do Milford Sound. So that's definitely on the list for, I'm hoping next year we can go back and stay at the Platinum Villas in Queenstown again, because it was honestly so relaxing, and then do Milford Sound and do a helicopter flight. I think that would just be spectacular.
Gosh, so how long do you recommend for a South Island holiday?
Oh, we only did 6 days this time, and it was not, and like it was enough, but for a short, we only had 6 days, was all we could kind of manage. But 14, you could easily fill in 14. But in saying that, again, it's just, you can go for as long as you can, and you could have a great adventure in 4 days, a great adventure in 7 days, a great adventure in 14 days. So I think you just, look, any excuse to go somewhere, no matter how much time or money, I'll find a way to make it happen. So
Well, you could do a camper van holiday next. It could be another book.
yes, well, you can get these. I've seen through iMover. Have you heard of iMover?
No.
So it's like a camper van company, and they do them through New Zealand, Australia, across Europe, and in Canada. And it's like very last minute, but you can hire the camper van for $1 a day.
Oh.
And essentially, so say it's just like they need people to return the camper vans to like their major destination. So you might, I don't know, have 5 days to drive the camper van from Queenstown back to Christchurch or something like that. And they only charge you $1 a day to rent the vehicle. Yeah, so I think that can be a really economical and fun way to travel if you've got the flexibility to do something last minute. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on their specials.
Yeah, what a great idea. iMover. I'll attach that to the notes. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of fun. And yeah, it's $1 a day. So
You can't get much cheaper than that, can you?
But I do think we're umming and ahhing actually next time whether to do across New Zealand the typical camper van holiday or the villas, because villas are nice, Airbnbs are nice, yeah.
What about a little mix of the two?
Maybe, potentially, I don't know, we'll see what takes our fancy and what the budget allows at the time.
I'm not much of a rough it kind of girl, but we did a camper van when I was 14 in America, and I have such good memories from that trip.
Yeah.
We ended it in a hotel doing all the theme parks and everything in Anaheim, Disneyland, all of that. But I loved being in the camper van. And my daughter asked me all the time, can we get a camper van, an RV? She's desperate to do it.
Yeah, look, my boys love camping too, and they go in swags. And look, and I have done that, but I like a bit more comfort these days. I must admit. So.
I've done my fair share of that, but I do think kids should experience it.
100%. But you know the problem, Sally, as they get older, teenagers smell. So I don't know how I feel about camper vanning with. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
And I've got a boy.
Oh, yeah,
and my husband is a big kid, and yeah.
Just dunk him in the hot springs in Rotorua.
True.
Although that's a bit stinky too. Any more travel advice for us parents out there, Kirstin?
So something that I suggest for families when they are traveling or are out and about exploring is to book a local photographer and to update your family photos. So historically, we don't have a lot of family photos because I despise having my photo taken. And so now I'm
like a lot of mums.
Yeah, I hated being in front of the camera. I always feel so awkward. And my husband actually got really upset. He's like, we have no family photos. So for a couple of years now, every time we travel, I book a local photographer and I make a point of updating our family photos because then they're done, one. But also, it's just I find it's much more relaxed because you're in a relaxed environment. They look less staged. Everyone's typically happier on family holidays. And I just think it's a really great opportunity for families to update their family photos.
That is the most creative travel tip I have ever heard.
Yeah, thank you.
Unique, absolutely unique. I am kind of lucky though because I do have a cameraman partner who takes impeccable photos.
Yes.
But he's not in them all the time.
Yeah, well, there you go. So maybe you guys should book a local photographer and then he'll be in them too.
I bet you know someone in Bali.
Yes, we've used the same photographer in Bali for many years now. His name's Coco, so I can definitely give you his details for when you do get around to booking that Bali trip.
And what a great story behind the photo as well. Well, just before we go to our lightning fast 5 questions, how can families get in touch with you? How can they buy the books?
Yes, they can definitely follow us on social media. The handle is My Big Adventure, and I'm sure we can pop them in the notes as well. Or our website is www.mybigadventure.com.au, or just Google My Big Adventure Kids Travel Diaries.
And you've got loads of advice on your website for travellers.
Stacks.
Are you going anywhere soon?
They've just released flights to Bali out of Avalon Airport starting early next year. So I'm thinking there'll be some good deals.
Oh, have they? Do they normally fly international from Avalon?
No, they're just starting back up again. I think it's been about 5 years since they flew out of there internationally. And Jetstar's, as of March, I think next year, starting to fly out of Avalon again. So I think there might be some good deals. But next year is my 40th. So I'm kind of trying to plan as many holidays as reasonably practical.
Yeah. You've got to go somewhere. Look, I was 40 in COVID years, so I didn't get to go anywhere. And I had big dreams of going to Wimbledon or going to the Greek islands, and I'm yet to get there. It's sort of past and I'm over it now.
Yeah, are you?
I don't want to think about my age anymore.
That's all I want to do. I just want to travel and have great family time and make some amazing memories. And so I'm...
Well, Northern Lights, Mum.
Yes, potentially.
All right, Kirstin, let's try these fast 5 questions. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes, I am ready. Let's set go.
Do you prefer window or aisle seat?
Window.
Complete this sentence. When travelling, I never leave home without my...
Coffee, protein powder, and swimmers and medication in my handbag. Hand luggage.
Okay, I need to start doing that protein powder. You've just reminded me.
Yes, Macro Mike is the only one I can stomach. When you're traveling, especially, you can have such long days, especially if you're going to Disneyland or somewhere like that where you're walking a lot. So protein powder in the morning is a good one.
Beach, city, or snow holiday?
Oh, beach and city. Snow if I can sit by an open fire with a glass of red wine.
You're not a skier.
I'm not a skier. No, I'm the most uncoordinated person ever.
If budget wasn't a factor, what's your dream destination?
Antarctica.
Oh, yes. And finally, what snacks do you pack in your suitcase? Apart from your protein powder.
Right, apart from my protein powder, does coffee count as a snack?
Oh, yeah, some people like a coffee for a snack. I'm having one now.
I can't function without coffee. But then, in terms of kids' snacks, I always just pack whatever we've had in the lunchbox at home and that I know works. Nothing foreign, nothing fancy, just comfortable and familiar.
Yes. At 13 and 14, do you still need to pack them snacks?
Yes.
Kirstin, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I absolutely loved hearing your stories and everything that goes into creating My Big Adventure. I know listeners are going to get so much out of this episode. Thanks again for your time. You were fantastic.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Sally.
Enjoy your next holiday.
I shall. Thank you.
I want to hear all about the Northern Lights.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I hope Kirstin takes her son to see the Northern Lights. It's definitely on my bucket list. And hey, what about getting a family photographer while you're there? Now that family portrait would get everyone talking. Kirstin had so many great hacks and tips, and you can find more on her website. My Big Adventure Travel Diaries are such a simple yet genius idea. The way she's designed and tailored them to specific destinations, so cool. And Christmas is just around the corner. So if your family or your friends with kids are heading to Japan, Bali, Fiji, New Zealand or Thailand soon, head to the website and pick up a copy. It would make the best present. In fact, I'm getting my daughter the New Zealand one with some glitter and stickers, but not colourful pens, because we know what happened to my sad diary. Although, perhaps colourful ink lasts longer these days. I hope so. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode with Kirstin Edwards, please leave a review or forward this episode on to your fellow travel-loving friends. Subscribe to Snacks and Suitcases. And until next time, happy travels.
And don't forget the snacks.